So whether you've been diagnosed or not, this is good for you to know. So there's actually, when I work with clients, there's two different things that I'm looking at. I want to know, do you have antibodies present or not? So if you have antibodies present and it's associated with a thyroid disorder, then you're going to have something like your Hashimoto's or your Graves' disease. That's where the body is producing these autoantibodies and it is attacking your body, and in this case the thyroid gland. Now there's a few reasons for why that happens. We can get into that a little bit later, but right now I want to talk about, if you have antibodies present and you've been diagnosed with Hashimoto's, you've been diagnosed with Graves' disease, then the healing pattern and protocol is going to be a lot different than if you have just been diagnosed with hypothyroidism. Okay, so there's actually two different trails that we go down to heal a thyroid condition, but you really need to know if antibodies are present. So one of the things we need to figure out really early on is, are there antibodies present? Now you're going to be few and far between if you have a doctor or a practitioner who you show up, you say, hey, I've got all these thyroid symptoms, and they're automatically right off the bat running a full thyroid panel, including the antibody tests. I have not met one person yet who has come to me and said, yep, I've got all those numbers, here you go. So one of the things you need to be aware of and know is that with a full thyroid panel, you want to advocate for yourself and get your antibody numbers. So it's the TSH and the TGAB. Those are the two tests, or you can just ask for the antibody test to be run for the thyroid. That's what we're talking about. Okay, so after you get those two tests, and you do need to advocate for yourself, you're going to have practitioners who really are like, well, I don't think you really need this. We do, because it's two different ways of looking at healing the thyroid if we know you have antibodies present versus not having antibodies present. If you don't have Hashimoto's, if you don't have Graves' disease, and you do have hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism, then we're going in and we're looking at optimizing hormonal production. We're looking at optimizing hormonal conversion. We're looking at, what are some of the things that you might be deficient in that could increase those production and conversions of the hormones. We're looking at things that are dealing with the thyroid gland itself. With an autoimmune condition, the thyroid is secondary. We have to be thinking about, okay, if I've got an autoimmune condition happening, then we need to go in and identify the root cause of why the autoimmune condition is there. We need to look at gut health. We need to look at immune system health. We need to figure out how we can suppress those antibodies from firing on your thyroid. And then sometimes we might find out that your thyroid is working just fine, but it's been masked by an autoimmune condition for so long that the numbers have been skewed. So after that, then we go in and we support the thyroid production and conversion if we have to. And a lot of times we do, but I've seen some cases where when we get the autoimmune condition under control, the thyroid bounces back like there was never anything wrong. So this little video is just a takeaway for you educationally wise, so that you have this little piece of information in your back pocket that if you have hypo or hyper is a little bit more common, so that's why I kind of go there, and then Hashi's a little bit more common, so that's why I kind of just go with the hypo Hashis, but know that I am collectively speaking about all the thyroid imbalances, that there's different ways to be treating this. There's different ways to be healing this naturally. And if you have to support with a hormone replacement, that's okay too. But I want you to also be thinking about, what are you doing as far as nutrition and lifestyle and supplements, and getting to the root cause of what is it that is driving this imbalance. Not enough people are asking those questions. So I want to empower you with this information, where if you've been diagnosed with hypothyroidism, you feel like something's still a little bit off, I'm encouraging you to go back to the practitioner and ask for the antibodies. The TPO, which is the thyroid peroxidase number, that's going to see if those antibodies are elevated, and then the TGAB, which is the thyroglobulin. So That is power in itself, ladies. Like, we have to be able to take our health into our own hands, start getting answers, and not just relying on, you know, the status quo. So thinking outside the box a little bit. Again, if you've got that Hashimoto's, we are going to be looking at treating it one way versus hypothyroidism, where we're looking at treating it another way. So if you have questions, if you have follow-up comments, questions, want to chat, you can private message me. Feel free. I don't mind. You can comment on this video, but I just want to start spreading the news and sharing some information that might help you guys move forward and get out of the symptoms that you feel when you've got a thyroid imbalance, which I know I've got one, and I know sometimes it is not pretty. Hope everyone's doing well, and I'll hop in here and talk to you guys again soon. Bye-bye.